Walls updated Detective Vega about Ramirez's interrogation the next morning. Ramirez left him with more questions than answers. Vega asked Walls about probable cause, but Walls said no. Vega muttered about needing to get that SOB. Before hanging up, Walls mentioned not knowing about Santiago and Navarro dating. Vega stayed silent, never being informed by Santiago. Then, as an afterthought, Walls added that Ramirez had made a dumb remark, joking that if it hadn't been for Santiago's rare matchbooks, he would have never been able to smoke at work. Vega's mind raced after the call. Why didn't Santiago mention dating Navarro? What was the matchbook's connection? Vega planned to discuss it with Santiago over dinner the next day. Santiago called Ramirez to ask about the dumb detective text, and Ramirez laughed, saying he was questioned about the murders. Amused, Ramirez recounted how the detective had acted completely ignorant about Santiago's past relationship with Navarro. Ramirez mocked how the idiot Walls focused on pointless details like his obsession with smoking. He joked that without Santiago's matchbooks, he would have had a nicotine attack and died. Santiago asked Ramirez why he didn't tell Walls about the matchbook he gave him as a sign of dominance. Ramirez laughed. Crazy, right? The things that escape a man's mind after years of hard drugs and smoking. Across town, Vega sat alone, deep in thought. He disliked thinking too much. He was a doer, and being in his head was stressful. The possibility of his son being a killer troubled him. Their relationship had always been close, with no reason for suspicion. He wished he could retire in 48 hours instead of 2 weeks. As a father, he might be able to accept the truth, but as a cop, the moral justification would be much harder. Meanwhile, at home, Ramirez opted for a cold drink instead of smoking. Suddenly, the killer aimed a gun at him. Ramirez disregarded the situation due to intoxication. The killer pulled the trigger, and Ramirez felt the sting, a burning sensation, before his body went into shock as he slumped back and died. Later at home, Santiago smiled at his bloodied hands, relishing the thought of using a gun to kill. Ramirez violated rules. Santiago then went to the bathroom to shower, but first ran his hand through his hair, making sure his face was still intact. The thought lingered. He loved the idea of killing with a gun. Santiago cleaned and tidied before his father's visit in a few hours. But then he stopped and looked down, realizing he might have to do something he never thought he would. Later, he considered if Walls had told Vega about Ramirez's interview. The lingering possibility made Santiago consider necessary actions. If he had to kill his father, he might as well do it right. He practiced aiming at Vega's chest with the gun pointed out.